This video is going to cover some of the most common mistakes people make when dropshipping on eBay. If you are new to dropshipping, you will definitely want to watch this video before you start dropshipping on eBay. Some of these mistakes could lead to a permanent account suspension, so it's better to be safe than sorry. Mistake number 1. Listing too many too fast. If you are a new seller and you just created an eBay account, start slow. Don't immediately list items after creating your eBay account. Wait a few days and then start listing items. You need to give eBay time to process your account information and verify your bank information. When you do start listing items, don't list too many all at once. My recommendation is to list about 30 items per day over the span of a month so that by the end of the first month, you should have around 1,000 items listed. After that, you may list items at your discretion. If you make the mistake of listing too many too fast, you risk your account getting permanently suspended. This has happened to several of my students already, so don't make the same mistake. Mistake number 2, not listing enough. At first glance, this seems quite contradictory to what I just said earlier. However, the context is entirely different. This mistake is nowhere as severe as the previous mistake because your account will not be suspended if you don't list enough. The only consequence of this mistake is that you will not make as many sales as you could. eBay's algorithm favors sellers with more account activity, meaning eBay will rank your listings higher if you list items more frequently. The higher your ranking, the more sales you will make. So it would be smart to list items every day, which is what I recommend if you want to maximize the number of sales. Mistake number 3, listing Vero items. Vero stands for Verified Rights Owner, and the Vero program is eBay's way of protecting the intellectual property rights of brands. It allows owners of intellectual property rights and their authorized representatives to report eBay listings that may infringe on those rights. Listings may be reported for trademark and copyright infringement, counterfeit goods, brand name and logo misuse, among others. eBay has a whole section dedicated to Vero, so you should read it and take it seriously. Listing Vero items is guaranteed to get your account suspended, so don't make the mistake of listing them. If you're using a listing software like Yably, it automatically filters out Vero items and won't list them. However, the Vero list is ever growing, so you will need to run Vero scans on a regular basis using the software. Mistake number 4, not paying attention to seller metrics. There are 3 seller levels on eBay: top rated, above standard, and below standard. You need to maintain your account at above standard or higher if you want to successfully sell on eBay. If your account falls to below standard, that means you weren't paying enough attention to your seller metrics. Your seller level can fall to below standard if your transaction defect rate is above 2%, or if your percentage of cases closed without seller resolution is above 0.3%. Consequences of falling below standard include listings placed lower in search results, restrictions on selling, higher final value fees, inability to use promoted listings, and more. Honestly, it's really hard to fall to below standard if you just put some effort into this business. eBay assesses your seller performance on the 20th of each month, so make sure you are meeting the requirements and taking care of your customers. Mistake number 5, disregarding monthly selling limits. eBay imposes selling limits, which are based on your sales volume and the feedback you received from buyers. eBay will review your account every month and adjust the limits automatically, but you can also request a limit increase if your selling performance and sales metrics are strong. Selling limits are a point of confusion for many people because they don't realize that both your active and sold listings count toward your monthly limit. eBay may end any listings that you have created over your existing limit, and good till cancel listings won't renew automatically if you've reached the maximum amount you can list. Mistake number 6, mentioning dropshipping when speaking to eBay representatives. While wholesale dropshipping is allowed on eBay, retail dropshipping, which is what we're doing, is not allowed on eBay. Therefore, it is best not to mention dropshipping at all when you're chatting with eBay representatives. If eBay agents ask you about your supplier, don't mention Amazon or any other retailers. You want to avoid any suspicion that you are dropshipping, especially if you have no contracts or agreements in place with legitimate wholesale suppliers. If you need to give eBay a response about where you are sourcing your items, you can say clearance items in stores and online. Now, I want to be clear about one thing. Just because you don't mention dropshipping on eBay doesn't mean that they don't know you're dropshipping. In fact, they almost always know, which brings me to the next mistake. Mistake number 7. Giving up when flagged for dropshipping. No matter how careful you are, at some point you will be flagged by eBay for dropshipping. eBay has a very sophisticated algorithm that will be able to infer whether or not you're dropshipping. There is nothing you can do. Everyone who is dropshipping on eBay will receive a message like this. If you have been flagged for dropshipping, don't despair. As you can see from the message, there are no severe consequences for dropshipping on eBay. Your account will not be eligible for the top-rated seller program, and your listings will be temporarily suppressed in search results. After a while, your listings will return to normal, and you won't even know you were ever flagged in the first place. The solution is to keep listing new items on a frequent basis and to provide great customer service to your buyers. All of my accounts have been flagged for dropshipping, and I'm still making around 50 sales per day on each account. There's a lot of misinformation out there about the dropshipping flag, so I hope that this will ease your qualms. Mistake number 8. Not taking this business seriously. This is the worst mistake you can make. Essentially, all the mistakes that you might make stem from not taking this business seriously. Let me remind you again that this is a real business. Buyers think you are a real business. eBay thinks you are a real business. You should also think you are a real business if you want to succeed at dropshipping and make some serious money. This is the easiest business in the world, which is why the barriers to entry are so low. This is also why most people fail at dropshipping. They think it's so easy, so they don't take it seriously as a legitimate business. They don't spend the time or effort to learn the business. They don't have the patience or self-discipline to grow with the business. If you want to make money, which is what I'm assuming all of you are here to do, take dropshipping seriously. This business has the potential to generate 6 or 7 figures in profit, but only if you're willing to work for it. The learning curve is not steep at all. You just need to put in some time and effort. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with these common mistakes when dropshipping on eBay. Give me a shout out if you learned something new from this video, and feel free to ask me any questions. I'll try my best to answer. If you found this content useful, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting new videos every week. If you would like to get started with dropshipping, please consider using my referral links below. Thank you so much for your support.